How's it going, Starseekers? My name's Luke and welcome back to another TMTB, where today we're going to be taking a look at Train Station Renovation. It's a simulation game which follows in the footsteps of games like House Flipper and tasks you with taking rundown train stations and giving them a bit of an overhaul. Now, why exactly the developers chose train stations as the locations marked for renovations, I have no idea, but let's check the game out and see if it's worth getting your hands dirty over. Now, Train Station Renovation is available on the UK Switch eShop for £16.99 and the US eShop for $18.99. Upon beginning the game, you get to make your very own logo, though the options here are pretty limited, but there are a few shapes, icons and colours for you to play around with. Now, once you're happy with your logo, you can begin the game, and to start with you get plopped down into some abandoned looking office building with a computer terminal from the 90s, a bunch of tools strapped to the wall and a diorama train set, which doesn't seem to work until you've completed the tutorial, and even then my train didn't want to move for me. So in order to get into the real game, you've first got to run through a short tutorial which teaches you the basics, and the first item on the agenda is to buy a couple of different bins, which you're definitely going to need. From what I've played, it seems a large portion of your time in Train Station Renovation is going to be dedicated to litter picking, and your character's movement feels pretty speedy, which does make it a little tricky when trying to line things up and aim at objects. Now, the two bins that we have at our disposal, haha, see what I did there, are firstly a recycle bin which rewards us with a bit of cash for dropping the correct type of trash into it, and secondly a large skip where we can toss anything we like in, however there is no payout for doing this. We're able to send out a ping which highlights trash and other points of interest such as graffiti, broken furniture and cobwebs, which does make them easier to spot, though the range of this ping is limited and it does have a few seconds cooldown. Now, working through the tutorial, you'll learn about how the different tools work, and you're able to access all of these from a kind of tool wheel by holding the X button, though you can also cycle through them with the L and R buttons. For the most part, this tool selection system works pretty well. However, there is actually no quick way of putting a tool away, which is necessary for picking up larger objects, and the only way to actually do this is by opening up the tool wheel and selecting your hands, which I did find a little irritating. Now, our arsenal of tools is actually quite versatile. It includes things like an axe and a crowbar, both of which are used to dismantle and destroy furniture and larger pieces of junk, a sweeping brush for cleaning floors and cobwebs, a magical JML multi-sponge which removes graffiti from walls with ease, and a spanner which can just about repair all manner of busted electronics. It's usually pretty obvious which tool is required for each kind of task, though you are prompted whenever you approach one, which turns out to be pretty useful, as the game is pretty picky when it comes to using either the pickaxe or the crowbar to destroy things. Now, once you've completed the tutorial, you then drop straight back into the office, where you'll now find a map with a list of stations which are prime candidates for renovation. You have to work through these levels in order, and there only appears to be 8 of them in the game, which does make it appear a little light on content, though it did take me around an hour to fully refurbish the first train station, so you're probably looking at about 8 to 10 hours to complete them all. Now, getting into my first proper job, I found myself at a small remote looking train station called Cleanville. Right away I got to picking up trash and tossing it into the relevant bins, lodging tyres and pallets into a skip like some sort of Incredible Hulk Michael Jordan love child. The area itself contained 2 buildings, the main ticket office and waiting room and a small utility building, and after getting a little bored of litter picking, I then decided to get to work on renovating the main building. Starting with the windows, I got to use my all-purpose crowbar to remove the boards from them, and after picking out the shards of broken glass, a tap from said crowbar saw new windows instantly fitted. Just like its surroundings, the interior of the building was in a proper shit state, requiring me to perform plenty more litter picking and smashing of junk with the axe and crowbar, but I eventually managed to empty the place out and moved on to the floors and walls. Now, cleaning the floor and removing graffiti from walls is a simple process of sweeping your aim back and forth until you fill a green circle around your aiming reticle, but for some godforsaken reason you have to hold the A button and then aim with the right analog stick, which is practically impossible to do with one hand. So you're forced to actually hold the A button with one hand and then direct your aim with the other. This just turns out to feel incredibly awkward, and I really have no idea why they didn't just bind the action button to the ZL trigger, as it isn't actually used for anything at all, or the ZR trigger, which is only used to sprint. Anyway, after cleaning up the place completely, it was then time to do a spot of furniture shopping. You're able to access a store which sells all kind of goods by hitting the Y button to open your tablet, and all of the items available in the store are sorted into categories, which makes it easy to find whatever you're looking for. Now, I thought there was a reasonable selection of items on offer here, allowing for at least a little customization of your stations, and you'll generally find all the usual objects you'd find in a train station, such as chairs, benches, potted plants, vending machines, and of course ticket machines. Purchased items are dropped into your inventory bar at the bottom of the screen, which is navigated through using the left and right D-pad buttons, and placing objects into the world is easy enough, with the L and R buttons rotating items, which then turn green when they're in a placeable location. So after decking out my train office with a bunch of new furniture, I'd finally turned it from a dishevelled wreck into a rather cosy looking waiting room, and pleased with myself I moved on to the rest of the exterior. Now, you do actually have a list of arbitrary objectives you need to achieve in order to complete levels, but these are all rather simple, requiring you to do things like restore the electricity or drain the water out of a basement, and the bulk of the gameplay is still focused around the renovation side of things, with your progress in levels tracked as a percentage. You're awarded with stars for reaching percentage milestones, which can then be spent to upgrade your tools, making them more effective, and you also get some other rewards like cash to spend on more furniture, or new carriage types for your diorama train set, which still won't work for you. I was able to actually earn 4 stars in the first level, which was pretty easy to do, but then I got stuck at 96% and spent about 20 minutes searching the area for the last dregs that I needed to clean up, and I eventually just got bored, gave up, and handed the station over to complete the level. So in all, I thought Train Station Renovation was a decent simulator game, and I'm sure that fans of other renovation games will find it to their liking. I actually found Train Station Renovation's gameplay to be rather relaxing, in that kind of repetitive mind-numbing way that comes from things like ironing clothes or washing the dishes, and I would recommend buying it if you're looking for something to unwind to. When it comes to any issues that I encountered, I've already mentioned the questionable control scheme, but aside from this, I did experience a few minor frame rate drops, and there is a bug which freezes up your tablet whenever you complete all of the level's objectives, and this meant that in order to complete a level I had to save my game, exit to the main menu, and then load it back up before I could hand the station over. Overall though, decent game, not the best looking and a bit on the pricey side, but definitely worth picking up on a sale if you like these kind of games. And so that's about it for this TMTB, so let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that like button if it helped you out, and if you enjoy this type of content and want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel. For now though, I want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.